I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. If we can start with a moment of silence, please. If we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As a reminder, if you have a cell phone on you, please make sure that it's on silent. City Clerk Domingo, to take roll call first, please.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Reed. Here. Jackson.
Here.
Waller.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
French.
Here.
And Mayor Snyder.
Here. Do I have a motion to approve of the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will begin this evening with the presentations and recognitions. Starting off, we will have a presentation of our employee of the third quarter.
Good evening, my name is Mitchell Avant, I'm the HR director of the city of Albion. And so last quarter, we started a recognition program where we highlighted individual employees that provide outstanding service to the citizens, to each other, to visitors. So the third quarter ended, and so we're now ready to nominate. Now we're ready to share the third quarter winner. But I wasn't. You probably the speaker. So today I'm honored to award one of my coworkers who are very close to it. And the criteria that she met for the award is the team members go over and above their job duties with their team of task or projects. The team members set a good example by stepping up or taking the areas outside of their daily duties. We're taking on extra work during vacancy. Team member rarely misses any work, particularly in the last quarter, and comes to work on time and consistently exceeds job performance and expectations while increasing efficiency and better. And so we had two employees that nominated our winner. And so the first employee wrote, or nominator wrote, the county is very collaborative. She assisted the human resource office by providing historical information and context for changes that needed to be made to the newly updated employee handbook. The county is very thorough in how she approaches her work. She seeks direction and clarification on their task, and she looks for ways to improve the payroll process and make it more efficient. The county is always willing to assist with last-minute requests for reports and is willing to take on project assignments that may be slightly outside of her day-to-day responsibilities. The county rarely misses any work. She is very dependable and always comes her when needed. Connie has been helpful in training and onboarding the human resources director position because he has served as a point of contact for questions related to past practices and procedures of the human resources office. At any time, Connie can be witnessed serving customers at the front desk, responding to payroll questions, or sending out routine correspondence related to time that finishing payroll. Connie is an asset to the city of Albion, and her service is appreciated.
Yes.
Depending on the role, since I've been in the city of Albion over a year now, Connie has been an exceptional party for the finance department. She routinely steps up and is willing to help other team members in any way she can. She always wants time to work. Her work is always completed on time and done the right way. She is willing to go overboard to get her task completed. You can count on Connie to do what is asked of her. She is polite, smart, consistent, and reliable. The city is very fortunate to have her as a team member for the finance department.
Yeah.
And so we have a $21 gift certificate from her Albion. They're one of our donors for this year's fifth quarter award. And so Connie will be receiving this as well as the plaque that honors her for being an employee of the quarter into the third quarter.
Picture taking time. Yeah, picture taking.
I thought she was coming to answer union class.
That's great.
And if I could say a few words, I can personally attest, whenever I am in the building, when you are dealing with customers at the front counter, you always have a smile on your face. You always have a gracious demeanor about you. When you email me, all the email communication is very professional. And again, you know, I can tell on the other end of the phone, if we're on the phone, that you have a smile on your face. So customer service, you know, that means a lot. And when you're working with the public, I know it's challenging at times, but I do appreciate that you do keep a smile, that you are gracious, you are patient, and you know how to work with the public. So for that, I thank you as well. All right, Mr. Farley. Farley is here from the Rotary Club.
First of all, I'm a little bit confused. I thought the meeting started at 7. I came in and the meeting was underway.
That's okay.
Anyway, yes, I'm here representing the Rotary Club of Albion. And we have a member that has been purchasing daffodils in large quantities. And that's true again this year. And he's making 600 bulbs available for the Rotary Club plants. Last year we planted 400 on the Speed Bank and Riverside Cemetery. And we plan to plant another 600 this year. The member that's been purchasing these daffodils gives the impression that this is an ongoing situation year after year. Daffodils are early bloomers, really help to start spreading and going. But there isn't, and they will bloom year after year, given the right opportunity. And that opportunity is for the leaves to continue to grow to feed the bulbs. And we did this last year, I believe, with the approval of the mayor, working through your, through Kevin O'Brien, and we're very closely with. But my thoughts are that you as policymakers understand that it might be necessary to leave that bank unmowed until early July for the daffodils to be able to really feed themselves. And daffodils are especially, you don't plant them in a garden where you have to do weeding all the time, because after they blossom, the leaves wilt down and turn brown, and it's not the nicest thing in manage your garden. But if you have a place like that bank at Riverside Cemetery, I'm talking about the Steep Bank, a place like that, they're ideal because they help, they're good ground cover, they help you control erosion. And the ones we use are, I don't think deer would care to feed them there anyway. They are resistant to deer. So I just wanted to let you know what we're doing, so that if, as policymakers, if we're talking about why aren't they mowing that bank, there is a reason, and we appreciate that. While I'm here, I do want to express appreciation for Kevin O'Brien and what he does to help us. There's another major project that I've talked to him about that I think he's going to really be helpful on. But more particularly, Joe Reynolds is a really nice, good person at your cemetery. I guess as the person in charge of the cemetery, he works for. By the way, I didn't give my address who I am. I'm David Farley, 8755 28 Mile Road, and that's out in the country. I'm not a citizen of the city of Albion, but I am definitely an Albionite. And to the extent that my wife and I have our stone in cemetery, Riverside Cemetery already. So not only have I lived here all my life, I've had to live here all my life and be very good. So, thank you for the opportunity.
Well, we thought you were gonna leave at the end.
President.
We thought you were gonna leave at the end.
That's, we really planned well in advance. So,
That's good.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Farley in regards to this? Yes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis.
Yeah, I don't have a question because I helped plant daffodils. That's right, in the rain and all. But, you know, in our due diligence in terms of what the soil is for and that is not being kept, maybe a sign or something can be placed there. This is the future site. This is, this site is being preserved for the future site of daffodils or something like that. So the public will know that we just aren't being negligent, but we're preserving the
We
soil.
can see that there would be something more than a no mow May. It would be a no mow May in June. It's.
Yeah, but something to let the public know.
Right. That can be done. We can take it.
Okay.
Councilman French.
Thank you, Mayor. And when is the planting event?
When
Yeah,
we haven't really set a date, it'll be this fall.
okay.
We don't know
And
yet.
the daffodils, it's my understanding that the person who purchased these daffodils has already received delivery. And in this case, that they have to be scheduled with the members of the Rotary Club in terms of when they're available and an alternate date. And we might have 2 days because 600 is a lot of daffodils.
Yeah.
We had 400 last year in less than 2 hours. It goes, when you do it, when you have the right equipment and you can do attitude and the right helpers.
That's right.
it
Diligent.
goes quite a bit. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Next, we have Miss Juanita Solis Kidder, who is here with the Citizens by Albion Group. Okay.
Thank you.
Juanita, do you want to introduce your crew?
Yes. Our free wills. Still get rid of them. They're the seven. And she felt and fellas said. And I'm glad that I found such thing. With the daffodils, because he was right when you plant daffodils, they turn brown, they look ugly, but if you want to make them look pretty, braid them, rubber band them, do something, you know, but they really, they need to stay. You can't let them. They cut. Anyway, Citizens to Beautify Albion, and in case some of you don't know, we've been in Albion since 1985, when we were in Alberta, when we founded the organization to bring the beauty of flowers to Albion for everything. We don't do exactly what they started out in the beginning, because as you can see, we're getting fewer and fewer, a little older. And so now we concentrate, we have 7 gardens throughout the community. You see that 29 vendors downtown and the entrances around them. And we have the benches for people to sit, take a break. So we maintain all of that stuff. But now we're coming forward to you and already been to these videos recently in the show her our proposed garden at the end of Jackson Street. The corner of Garden and Michigan and because we have a beautiful area coming in on the west side, when we're coming into Boston Avenue from St. Marshall. We have the perennial garden that we do. We have the Phyllis Garden across the street. We have the garden and things. And we have, thank you to the land bank and to the Johnny Craig family. We buy the flowers, but they maintain the garden that we created in memory of Johnny Craig. So I'm thankful because they have done an amazing job. And so that's a beautiful entrance over there, but you have the east side that's got a lot of potential out there. And we can find the deer. To keep those little flowers alive. But anyway, we are proposing, Chantal has got the picture. There is a yellow ugly barricade at the end of Jackson Street that we would like to remove and replace with a nice straight beautiful rail, maybe call the rail beautiful. And we would like to welcome to Albion sign because there is a four-way stop. People stop, hopefully they go to the corner and they see that we are welcoming them to our beach. We have the funds, we have those breaks to do those, a couple of trees on either end of them garden. We have, a plan to do perennials, but also annuals in the front, so that the petunias. And hopefully involve the fifth grade Harrington students to come and help in May when we do the event. Give them ownership, contributing back to the community. So that's our vision that we would like to see. And, just want to move it forward. And thank you for hosting us so that we could explain the picture to you. Oh, and I have to remind you, Andy knows, we started before we had banquet cook coming up and February 11th. And it's 12 and 2 and the first Baptist church on Cayman. So I hope Mr. Williams has already said signing up. And you know, it's a nice community event, bringing everybody together to share the church. And that's about what I can. Do you have any questions?
Any questions or comments for Juanita and her group?
Well, I'm very pleased. Thank you very much. It's going to make precinct 5 stand out.
I've always thought it was always outstanding.
And I can tell you, we're always in need of volunteers. And I say, even if you can't come out to lead, plan, or do, etc. When you're walking, when you're driving, if you're driving, don't pitch it out the window, please. If you're walking, you go by it, pick it up, there's trash cans everywhere. There's nothing, I have a pocket, I put the paper in my pocket. We can, this is Albion, we should be proud of it, we should all do something to it.
Well said.
Totally agree. Thank you, Wendy.
Yes, good job.
Thank you, guys.
Next, we have a certificate of recognition for Charles Hyatt and College Chevrolet staff. Councilwoman Davis had requested that this come forward. So I will allow her to give us a little backstory and the reason why we are bringing this forward this evening.
Yes, when we had the visitors here from France during the Festival of the Forks Week, we needed transportation for them. And the city has transportation, but I asked, we used the transportation for the city to pick them up, but there were some challenges that we were dealing with. So I contacted College Chevrolet to see if they could assist us with transportation for our visitors. And they did, they gave us an expedition to be used the entire time. We didn't need it because a lot of the days the visitors walked around town and did local activities. But when we went out of town, we had a very nice vehicle that was given to us free of charge. And I just thought that it would be nice to recognize the good deed that they did because they went above and beyond expectations. And so I wanted the city to say thank you on behalf of Sister City, as well as on behalf of the city of Albion. We appreciate their efforts.
Exactly. So we do have a beautiful certificate here that, no, Chuck's not here, right?
I don't think they were able to come today. I called, but we will get it to them tomorrow.
So we do have a beautiful certificate that we're going to give to College Chevrolet for them being willing and able to donate a vehicle for use when we need it with our sister city delegation. So that is huge for somebody to step up and help us out in that.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay.
Next, we have our presentation on Fire Prevention Month. With Ms. Kimberly Piskowski. Did I get that right or close?
Kowski.
Pashkowski.
Pashkowski.
Okay, and I would just, before Kimberly speaks, I would like to say thank you, one, for coming down. It was about a 2-hour drive here. But I contacted Kimberly as a result of contacting Representative Hosmer's office for fire prevention. And as you know, Albion has had a lot of fires recently. And, you know, I'm thinking as a citizen, what can we do to hopefully decrease the fires and decrease the fatalities? Because we did have a fatality during the past 5 months. So Kimberly graciously agreed, in her title, and I had to keep it right here, is Michigan Prevention CRR Division Chief Bureau of Fire Services. And you have to explain what CRR is. Okay, but she has a presentation for us, and we're going to follow her lead in terms of providing smoke detectors for Albion.
Awesome. Well, the floor is yours.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor, City Manager, and Council for having us here. I'm at prevention, Kimberly Kreshkowski with the Bureau of Fire Services. And we actually have a state fire marshal from Selmeyer as well with us today. He was driving through, heading to Detroit, so I said, I got a place for you to stop. So he's driving us. I just want to give an overview about my prevention. It's really important to go over some data and kind of give a little background of what we are so you understand the whole picture. Next slide, please. So at my prevention goal, really prior to 5 years ago, we never had community risk reduction. That's what CRR is, community risk reduction. And we never had that with the Bureau of Fire Services or with the state of Michigan prior to 5 years ago. We were awarded a FEMA grant through all volunteers that were part of this program that started at my prevention. And now we're 5 years into it. With that grant, we were able to pretty much get on my prevention up and running. And then we were able to produce a budget item for a position, which is my position. Other than that, everything that we do through my prevention is grant funded or proposals or funding funds. Our goal for community risk reduction is definitely to reduce fatal fires, reduce property loss, but also build communities and resilient communities at that. And really to provide resources for all of you. So we started with fire departments, clearly we're the Bureau of Fire Services, that's the best way to start. But with, this is one fact that I feel that most do not understand as I spoke all over the country. 75% of firefighters are actually volunteer. So they work all day, they answer calls basically on their time off from their full-time job. And so asking them to install alarms is, they absolutely have done it. I have out of how many fire departments? 1,100, yeah, over 1,100 fire departments in the state. We have 600 that partner with us. So that is a large portion that is volunteer as well as a career that are installing alarms. Last year, we were awarded $1 million towards smoke alarms. And through all of the data that I'll show you here in just a moment, we were able to win another award of $1 million this year. So October 1st, I was able to purchase, I'll be able to, this month I'll be doing it, be able to purchase another $1 million worth of alarms. So I'm one person, I cannot do that all on my own, especially in the whole state of Michigan. So that's where you all come in. Next slide, please, and we'll go over a couple things. I pulled all the data from my prevention that we've been collecting for Calhoun County. So in the last 5 years, we've had 8 fires resulting in 9 deaths. Those were the deaths of the last counties. You said there was a fire death in Albion?
Yes.
Was it in Albion?
Well, it was in the township.
Oh,
It was in the township.
Right.
Right.
So that those are the fatal fires that have resulted in death. And then I also can break down through all our data analytics that we do through every fatal fire, because I research every fatal through the 911 calls I listen to, and then the fatal fire investigations and the report. You're in Calhoun County, your fires are happening at night majority. And then for elderly during the day, 3 of them were during the day for 48 and older. Your deadliest days were basically the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and early morning. Every single fatal fire happened in those time frames. So that's really important to know. Next slide, please. In Calhoun County, these are the departments that are part of our program and that are installing alarms, but they are not installing a lot due to, volunteer and being volunteer departments or just not having the resources. So that's really where MI prevention comes into play, is to start working with cities where, this is why Vivian reached out to me. If we can find city support that starts building community support, that I've trained people all over the place to start installing alarms and then also documenting them. And there's a lot of programs that we offer. Smoke alarms are just one blueberry in the whole pie. But this is a great resource that we can offer for Albion, as long as, again, I am unable to do it, but as long as we build a resource or a team that is able to do it. We mapped all of the alarm installations in the state of Michigan, and we found pockets where there's no alarms being installed. Pretty much Jackson and South, all the way to the border is one of those spots, and that's what you guys fall into. So that's really important to know. Next slide, please. Across the whole state, this is the data, and all this can be found on miprevention.org. But we've had just this year in 23, 80 deaths for fatal fires so far this year out of 74 fires. I can tell you 61% of them were males. I can also tell you 23% are disabled. And probably the most astonishing that we found through the whole 5 years, is consistent in the 5 years, was 70 to 75% every single year of all the fatal fires we've had did not have working smoke alarms. So even if they had alarms in their home, they were not working. So that is really, really important to know as well. And then the deadliest time has been consistent. I don't know if it's ever flipped. 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. has always been the deadliest time for fatal fires. And as I've listened to the fatal fire reports and listened to the 911 calls, I can tell you fire behavior, understanding fire behavior is the reason why people are not getting out. Out of those 80 fatal fires this year, 23, 74% of them were found within 10 feet of the door. So that means they are, and it's at night, so they're leaving the bedrooms and trying to escape out of their bedroom door, or out of the bedroom door going to the front door. And they, because of the toxic smoke, they are not escaping. You have less than 2 minutes and you cannot breathe that toxic smoke. People are not dying because of actual fires. It's because of the toxic smoke that you're breathing and the decrease of oxygen that you have to breathe. So that's, I see it over and over. And we just had one last week about the 2 children. So it's just awful. Next slide, please. I'm almost done. All of our tracking is done through an app that we created. So this app is only through a QR code. That's where that QR code is located. It can be found on miprevention.org. I'll train everyone on this, and then it says right on the top one, document an alarm. You just click on that and you enter the information, you install the alarm. And there you go, that home has alarms. There's a couple rules to the program. You have to install the alarms, they cannot be handed out, and they have to be entered through this app. And that's the extent of it. I'm sorry, they have to be in Michigan. That's about the extent of it. They cannot be handed out, and that's all. A home needs 8 of them, put 8 alarms. If they need 2 of them, put 2 alarms. I don't have rules as far as what someone makes. I have this conversation often with fire departments. They'll say, Mrs. Smith clearly can afford her own. I don't care if Mrs. Smith can afford her own. It's more important that they have alarms. So installing them is clearly the most important part. In the last 5 years, we have installed 48,000 alarms in the state of Michigan. So that is not here in California. As you saw on previous slides, there was a couple hundred, maybe like that. I can't say all the numbers, but in 23, we visited 3,600 homes. So far, just in 23. So that's really, really good. We're doing good with our programs. And I have trained, yes, fire departments are doing it, but there's a lot of fire departments that cannot. Jensen was over on my side of town, on the west side. I trained 3 to 8-year-olds to do it. They did phenomenal, and they actually hit the top 10 in the whole state of Michigan of installing alarms. And they're amazing rock stars, and actually I'm going to Tennessee in February to speak on their excellent work. We won an award for what they did, so I can train anyone. And they had a lot of hiccups, but I was able to get them through it.
So we have a question, I believe, from Councilman.
So do you track those of us who already have smoke alarms and don't need them, that are installed and active
There's
and?
no more to check that, but once you have them,
Right, but you welcome us to download that app and install and record the fact that we have them?
you can, yes.
Okay.
You can go in there and you're not documenting that you installed them. You actually just send me an email and I'll make sure I do it properly on my end. It's not necessarily on what you currently have, it's that any alarms that we are documenting that we are installing. The purpose behind all that is because that's how I have been able in the last 5 years get almost $3 million to keep purchasing alarms.
I see.
So I take all this data that I just log in with and I bring it to the governor and to FEMA and all these other places that I write grants for and say, this is what I've been able to prove. This is what I can tell you to the day, time, size of house, age of house, and our data. I gave you a snippet, but it goes much better. And so that is what you're documenting. And then also every time someone gives me money, I have to prove where all that goes. So now I say, since the last year, I was able to, install 10,000 alarms, and these are all the places they went, and these are the people that installed them. So that's where that documentation is very beneficial. Now, one other thing on all this app that you have, there's so much information in this app, but we don't just have smoke alarms and CO detectors. We also have 5 different disability alarms, Shake one of them, strobe alarms, and so there's a lot of different resources that we offer all over the state, and that's all part of this program. Next slide, please. This I'm going to skip this, but this is a video. But if you go to my prevention, you'll see this video, and it's really I emailed it to everyone or to Vivian and share or whatever. But it's a 5-minute video that explains fire behavior and why you're not escaping. Next slide, please. And then what do we have to offer? Smoke alarms, all different types. There's a whole list on my prevention: smoke alarms, COs, combos, disabilities, strobes, Nest. The Sound On program, this is a national program to go to schools, and this is a free program. It does free education that's available for any resources to share with your schools. And we are actually, that picture up there is a calendar that is being delivered to every 2nd and 3rd grade teacher in the state of Michigan. I'm actually traveling all over the whole state delivering those this month. Smart burners are a way to stop fires altogether for cooking, for aging in place and people with dementia. That's a great program. We can find funding for that. I can help you set those up. We're doing that in Southfield. We just got 100 smart burners delivered to Southfield, and we're installing them in our homes for the people aging in place and dementia. And then go to these are $9. It's another way to resource anyone who smokes on oxygen, which is a huge fire fatality. This is a little fuse, and it kind of shows on that picture. This whole packet, kit is $9, and that will, if a fire were to start, it puts the fire out, so fire never happens, and an explosion never happens. Which 23% of our fires are from smoking. Next slide. So the strategy was really to build a team. Vivian's gonna help me with that, but we have free training, all on my prevention. It shows you up there. There's a video that kind of talks about fire behavior, all the training under IPSA there will be how to install smoke alarms. And then I'll send it on my prevention to help you move last program. And then get into homes and build your resilient community. That's the goal. And however, we as MI Prevention and State Fire Marshal can help you, Albion citizens and all surrounding people. And I will also say this. I'll give a challenge. Next slide, please. I would also pass a challenge to this fall is to not only go to your own home and make sure you have working smoke alarms in every bedroom, on every level of the home, but also a CO detector. A huge problem is CO poisoning happening, and so CO outside sleeping areas, and then everything on the home as well. And then not only do your own home, but then call someone older than you with your family members, parents, and see if they have. So that would be a huge challenge that we always pass on to everyone in the state. Any questions, the state fire marshal and I are happy to, would you like to, so, thank you.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight, and thanks to Kimberly for the great work that we're doing across the state. I think we're trying to include every community. That's the goal. We get 1,100 communities, they put up smoke alarms. And you know, we talk about people having smoke alarms. If you have 9-volt smoke alarms, we can change you out to a 10-year sealed smoke alarm, so you don't have to change the batteries. Let's talk economics for a minute, because I heard that earlier today, right? Fixed cost, right? What's it gonna cost? Today, 9-volt battery is about $5. You want to fact check it, go stand in line at Myers, right? Or you see the 2 batteries just shy of $10. That battery is only gonna last a year. So you purchase this cheap smoke alarm for $7 or $8, but you put $50 worth of batteries in it over the next 10 years. We can bring to your community 10-year sealed battery smoke alarms. The idea is that you don't have to change your battery, you just push the button to make sure they're working from time to time. Think about that, somebody who's got 3 bedrooms, 2 levels of their home, 5 smoke alarms. Think about the savings that we can pass on to the residents of your community. And the biggest thing that just tears in my heart every time, because Kimberly talked about the app, I've got all the fire investigators across the state sending us the data. And I would ask before you leave here tonight, that QR code, we have it on our phone, we'd love to share it with you. There's videos and stuff that you can watch on there that will make a difference. But one of the things that I see is that 70% of those 80 folks that have died in the state of Michigan didn't have a working smoke alarm. It didn't say they didn't have a smoke alarm. They said they didn't have a working smoke alarm. So that's the one thing I would challenge you tonight. Go home, push the button, make sure they are all working. I think you'll be surprised. And then the other thing with the 10-year seal is even if somebody burns food, they take it down, let's say they set it outside on the deck because they want that sound to stop. But when you bring it back in, it's still on. And we are, you know, part of the human factor is we pull the battery back and we want the sound to stop, but then we don't put it back. And I've been in the fire service for almost 40 years, and I'll tell you, it tears at our hearts. It really does for the firefighters, for the responders. These 74 fatal fires that occurred in the state, that's 74 times that a fire department's been impacted. That's 74 communities that have been impacted. And you hear this, we have this recruiting retention problem. I can share why we have a recruiting retention problem. Folks, we get to a point where as first responders, we've seen it now. When we hit that threshold of seeing it up, we walk away and go do other things. Instead, let's reduce the fire fatalities. Let's keep our firefighters working as well as we can. And let's take the strain off of the families that are responding. So it's great to be here in Albion today. I really appreciate all that you're doing. And as Kimberly shared, it doesn't have to be the fire department. We have some great communities where we have community groups where they're actually going out and put up alarms. We can feed you the alarms to, you know, to make a difference in your community. And when we talk about the report out, we talk about the top 15 fire departments in the state that have installed smoke alarms for the year. Kimberly's got 3 senior citizens in Jenison, Michigan, which is in Ottawa County, that are putting up alarms. Why couldn't we do the same thing here? And I would love to be able to stand in front of across the state, share the great work that's going on in Albion. So thanks again. And we'll be around after this.
All right, thank you both.
You're welcome. I'm gonna leave my card up here, but on the back, so far with the data. So that's probably part of it. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Welcome, Davis.
Yeah, we want to say thank you, and we will be in touch a lot. What I'm doing right now is really brainstorming with our fire department in terms of how to do it. We have clubs like the Rotary Club. He doesn't know that yet, but we have the Rotary Club, and we have a lot of citizens who would like to be trained. So we have to develop some strategies, but we needed to hear what was available and what you have to offer free of charge. So we will get in contact with you, but we're going to strategize probably with you in terms of best practices, in terms of bringing a variety of diversity of sectors on board initially, so we can go into the homes. And we realize that sometimes people really don't want strangers coming in. So we're going to focus on neighborhoods and precincts and churches and organizations and things like that to get it started. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment. At this time, if there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council in regard to a specific agenda item, you may do so at this time. If you would just come forward, give us your name and address, 3 minutes would be yours. All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Support. City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Meeting adjourned for closed session, 7:41 PM. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Do I have a motion to approve the Whiteman Water Systems Improvement Project proposal?
So moved.
Support.
City Manager Slater?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So as shared in the study session, the city applied for funding through Eagles Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. In their draft intended, again, we did meet the funding cutoff. So we received 9.6 million in grant funding, a little over $500,000 in a loan at 2% interest rate. Meaning we are required to finance the remaining 9.1 million for a total project cost of $19 million. This is improvements to the water system, our water system here in town, meaning improvements to the water treatment plant, the building the second water tower, and then water main replacement. Include on tonight's agenda, there are 3 proposals that tie to this project. The first one is for engineering services with Whiteman and Associates. The next is Baker Tilly for financial advisor services. So we'll need to do a rate analysis. There are other items that they will assist us with for this project. And then the third one is Miller Canfield. They currently serve as our bond counsel. And again, they will help assist us similar to what they're doing with our current wastewater treatment plant. So I'll have Mickey Bittner come up if you want to just highlight anything from the proposal or project.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council, and I think Team Manager Snyder summarized it perfectly. Don't have a lot to add to that. The only thing I will add is that because the intended use plan is in draft format right now, we are requesting in our proposal authorization for $200,000 to begin the preliminary design and the field work for the project. And then the balance of the proposal will come back before you once that final intended use plan is issued, probably 4 weeks or maybe 6 weeks, something like that. So the reason we're doing that is because of the magnitude of the project. A couple of things: we want to get some field work, survey work done before it's mobilized, a lot more efficient and more accurate to do that. And then also probably soil boring, pavement boring, and then begin preliminary design. And come back again probably November meeting close the house.
And so this will be covered out of the water fund because it is a water project. Vicki, please remind me of the formal name of the loan that we would take out before to cover the cost for engineering.
Sure. So once the final intended use plan is issued, and you're going to have the grant dollars to move forward with the project. Our recommendation would be, what we need to do in this situation is pursue a bond anticipation note. And what that is borrowing money in anticipation of another note. The closing of legal will not occur until August 28th of 2024. But to cover the engineering, the legal, and the financial consultant fees up until then, most communities will pursue a bond anticipation note. You can borrow the money, that pay those bills for 9, 10 months, 11 months, and then close on the loan or grant with Eagle, the bond anticipation, and then all gets paid off and closed out, and the project is forward. So it's kind of like some people use a bridge loan and buying a home. You still own your house, you haven't sold it yet. You don't have your cash for 20%. People are going to bridge loan to cover the down payment, so they sell their house and pay out the bridge loan. So similar to that.
Any questions for either Mickey or City Manager Snyder?
Just a bond anticipation note. Is that something that is approved only by the city council, the city manager, or the citizens?
So this council.
Just council, okay.
Any other questions?
One more thing on it, there will be some information that accompanies that before you make, you'll have to go through the approval process on that, but from the bond council, your local attorney, and the financial rate consultant as well. There'll be information from all those parties that provide input.
Okay. City Clerk Domingo.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the Baker Tilly financial advisor service proposal?
So moved.
Support.
City Manager Snyder.
Yes, as I just stated at the last item, so they will assist us with a water rate analysis. And there are a few other things that they'll help along the way, just making sure that our rates will support the proposed project. And then similar to the wastewater treatment project, we'll need to establish a reserve fund and then a capital maintenance fund as well. So just making sure that our rates can fund those funds to cover the loan payments and then have funds available and for future maintenance and repairs for the water system. Just a reminder, our water and sewer funds are enterprise funds, meaning the rates that we assess on our residents' businesses need to come in to cover the cost of operations, maintenance, capital improvements, and things like that. So
Any questions for City Manager Snyder? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Waller,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Motion to approve the Miller Canfield bond proposal.
So moved.
Support.
City Manager Snyder.
So Miller Campfield, they're currently our bond counsel with the wastewater treatment plant. So they provided a proposal to assist us with the water system improvement project. They will handle everything that we've done on the wastewater side, but for this project. So we're just looking for approval.
Questions for City Manager on this? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Waller,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Motion to approve the Calhoun County early voting agreement.
So moved.
Support.
Clerk Domingo, if you want to take the lead on that?
So as part of proposal 22-2, part of that proposal incorporates a 9-day early voting. Because of the cost of the equipment and what it will cost to pay the election inspector, the location. There's a multitude of things that are involved with it. We are actually partnering with Calhoun County along with 18 other of the local municipalities, Battle Creek and Bedford, Springfield. And I will also have their own early voting site. The cost that we have in the packet is actually an estimated cost due to the fact that we have applied, or the county has applied for a grant through the state. And we just don't know how much of that grant we're gonna actually receive.
Questions for City Clerk Domingo on this? Right, City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Waller,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Motion to approve the representation agreement with Marcus and Milchat for the housing advisor.
So move.
Support.
City Manager Snyder.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I want to say 2 council meetings ago, we had the presentation from Jack and Gershon with the Affordable Housing Advisors. So this is for the potential sale of the Maple Grove facility. The Albion Building Authority, they held their meeting on the 21st of September to discuss, and as a board, they unanimously approved a recommendation to the city council to move forward with entering into a representation agreement with the Affordable Housing Advisors. So if we approve this agreement, there is no cost to the city right now throughout this process. They will begin to solicit buyers for the facility. Then they will present any offers, or I guess possible buyers to the city. At that time, if we select to move forward with selling the property, we will then move forward with the sale, and then they receive a portion of the sale proceeds. So this is no cost to the city if we want to move forward with working with them on soliciting a possible buyer. One thing that I really like about this program is anyone who will purchase the facility, they will renew, the HUD certification remains with that building, and it's actually extended longer than what we currently have. So we will still have that HUD housing available to our senior residents, so we don't have to worry about any current residents being displaced or anything like that. It also allows for that facility to have a lot of necessary improvements made. The ABA, they did pay for a facility assessment, I believe, back in 2019 and through Whiteman. And at that time, there was almost about $3 million worth of improvements to that building. With the cost of everything, that number probably has grown since then. So I think this is an opportunity for one, we no longer will be landlords, and we can sell it to a person or an organization that has experience with running public housing, and then they will also be able to do the necessary improvements to that building. So giving our current residents a better place to call home. So I would support the ABA's recommendation to the city council to move forward with entering into a representation agreement with the Affordable Housing Advisors. They did just recently work with the city of Marshall for the same process with the Marshall House. I talked with Derek Perry, the city manager. He had nothing negative to say. He said they were great to work with and that it was a smooth process. So I would support that recommendation from the ABA.
Attorney Harkness.
I did review the agreement as well. There was only one change. We just had to insert the city's non-discrimination language into the agreement. They agreed to that change, and so that's been added.
Councilman French.
Will the Albion Building Authority still have any say in what happens with this facility after it's sold? Or are they just?
I think they would be done overseeing that because
Okay.
we have a lease with them to kind of oversee the function of that facility. They hire the property management company.
Right.
But they do still own other properties here in town. So they will still function until they no longer own those properties.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
Yes, not looking at the full scheme of things. Was there some additional land that went with that hasn't been built on?
So there is like wooded area behind the Maple Grove facility, and that's all a part of that current property. So it will be sold altogether.
Okay.
Is there some kind of agreement in terms of the duration of, or less their commitment for 20 years or 5 years, they will not change the property, for the original intent? You know what I mean?
Yes, but as they gave in the presentation, so they will renew all of the certification paper with HUD. So it will not change. It will remain HUD housing for, I think it extended to like 40 years.
40 years,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
Any other questions? City Clerk Domingo.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
and Mayor Queen.
Yeah. Future agenda items. Attorney Harkness.
Our office had completed a draft of the block party ordinance. So that should be good for at least discussion at the next meeting, if not the first reading.
Any other future agenda items? All right, public comment. If there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council, you may do so at this time.
Just staff at this point.
Well. That goes from the city.
Oh, he was going to.
Yeah. In plan.
Can we?
All right,
Can we talk about Fifth Street?
city manager report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So a copy of my report was included. There's only one thing that I really want to highlight. So we did submit a letter of intent to MISHDA CDBG Housing Improvement Local Livability Program. They were due on Monday, September 25th. So there were two eligible activity types through this program, homeowner rehabilitation or the demolition, reconstruction and resale to remove blight and create single family housing. So we submitted our LOI with to take advantage of the homeowner rehabilitation. Residents can apply, if we're awarded, they can apply for through this program and they can receive up to $40,000 to do necessary improvements to their home. So I'm waiting to hear back, but I just wanted to let you know that we did get our LOI submitted. They'll review all of the letters that they receive and then they will contact organizations to submit the full application. So I will keep you all posted. And that's all I have.
Council member comments. Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
It's not really a comment. I wanted to say something about agendas. Ian, I wanted them to come back with the fence ordinance and we haven't done that. That's been quite some time. If we can come back with that, we were going to look at the fence ordinance.
For a future agenda item.
Thank you.
And council member comment.
We can do an update on the fire prevention initiative. Between now and then. Yes. Update.
Any other council member comment? Do I have a motion for it?
So move.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned 9:06 PM.